Star Trek's new series exposes everything brilliant and broken about the iconic franchise. For nearly 6 decades, Star Trek has been both a mirror and a map, reflecting who we are while imagining who we might become. Every new installment carries the weight of that legacy, but the franchise's latest series doesn't just continue the journey. It interrogates it. Boldly, sometimes messily, it pulls apart the DNA of Star Trek itself, exposing both the brilliance that made it endure and the fractures that have quietly widened over time. What makes this new chapter so compelling is its willingness to embrace contradiction. At its best, Star Trek has always thrived on idealism, a future where humanity has moved beyond poverty, prejudice, and war. The new series doesn't discard that vision, it tests it. It asks whether such optimism can survive in a universe that has grown more complex, more cynical, and more unpredictable than ever before. And in doing so, it reminds us why Star Trek matters. The brilliance of the series lies in its characters. Not just because they're diverse in background, culture, and perspective, though they are, but because they feel genuinely conflicted. These are not the polished, almost mythic officers of earlier eras. They make mistakes. They question orders. They carry emotional baggage that doesn't conveniently resolve by the end of an episode. This shift is intentional, and it works. By grounding its crew in emotional realism, the series makes its moral dilemmas hit harder. When a captain hesitates, it isn't just about protocol, it's about doubt. When a decision goes wrong, the consequences linger. The utopia of the Federation suddenly feels less like a finished achievement and more like a fragile, ongoing project. That's where the cracks begin to show. Because while the series excels at character-driven storytelling, it sometimes struggles under the weight of its own ambition. In trying to be everything, prestige drama, philosophical sci-fi, action spectacle, it occasionally loses the narrative clarity that once defined Star Trek. Episodes can feel overcrowded with ideas, as though the writers are afraid to leave any theme unexplored. The result: moments that should resonate deeply instead pass by too quickly, buried beneath plot, twists, or visual spectacle. And yet, even this flaw speaks to something fundamentally Star Trek: the desire to push boundaries. The franchise has never been content to stand still. From its earliest days, it challenged social norms, experimented with storytelling formats, and redefined what science fiction could be on television. The new series continues that tradition, even when it stumbles. Visually, it's stunning, arguably the most cinematic Star Trek has ever looked. Starships glide through space with breathtaking detail, alien worlds feel tangible and lived in, and the scale of the universe is rendered with a sense of awe that earlier productions could only dream of. But this visual evolution also highlights a tension: style versus substance. Classic Star Trek often relied on minimalism. A single room, a handful of actors, and a strong script were enough to explore complex ideas. The new series, with its expansive budgets and cutting-edge effects, sometimes leans too heavily on spectacle. It's not that the visuals detract from the story. They enhance it, but they can overshadow the quieter, more introspective moments that once defined the franchise. Still, when the series slows down, it shines. There are episodes that capture the essence of Star Trek so perfectly it's almost startling. Stories that grapple with ethical dilemmas without easy answers. Conversations that feel like debates, inviting the audience to think rather than simply react. In these moments, the series doesn't just live up to the franchise's legacy, it elevates it. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the new series is how self-aware it is. It knows the criticisms that have been leveled at modern Star Trek, that it's too dark, too serialized, too disconnected from the hopeful tone of the past. Instead of ignoring those critiques, the show engages.